teach comprehension through vocabulary. In other words, we go through the words, we find the words, any words a child's going to have difficulty with, we teach him those words, and then we assume he'll be able to understand the story. The bias behind that, or the theory behind that, is if you understand every word in a paragraph or in a passage, you can understand the passage. Is that true? Let's take a look, okay? Let's look at that column of words, those 3 columns of words. Any words that you've never seen before? Tom, any words you've never seen?
No.
Ann? Tom? No? Kara? Kit? Any words you've never seen before? Maria? No. Can I then make the assumption that you understand every word that's listed here? Can I? Sure I can. Therefore, can I further make the assumption that if I give you a paragraph that contains these words and only these words, you'll be able to understand the paragraph? Can I make that assumption as well? 93% of teachers do. Let's give it a shot. When I say go, we're going to open to the next page, and you're going to follow along while I read a paragraph that contains those words and only those words. And then we'll have a little quiz on it afterwards. Okay? Turn the page, please, and follow along while I read. It says, if the known relation between the variables consists of a table of corresponding values, the graph consists only of the corresponding set of isolated points. If the variables are known to vary continuously, one often draws a curve to show the variation. Stephanie, is that okay with you?
Sure, I agree.
Nancy, you agree?
Sure.
Karen, would you like to take a quiz on that? Debbie? Tara?
No.
Raise your hand. I promise I won't pick on you, but raise your hand if you do understand what this paragraph means. I promise I won't pick on you, but raise your hand if you do. Merritt, what's your academic background?
Engineer.
Mathematics. Okay? You see, comprehension has much more to do with background than it does with vocabulary. Merritt is able to understand it not necessarily because he's any brighter than any of us, but his background in his... particularly today, right, Merritt? His background in his training has enabled him to understand this. That's what comprehension is about, not vocabulary. We cannot assume that because a person understands every word in the passage, he can understand the passage. Now, keeping that thought in mind, everybody in the back of your book has a little sheet of paper. Pull that sheet of paper out. And I want you to read silently while I read aloud the paragraph on the bottom of that page. The previous activity, you understood every word in the paragraph, but you couldn't give me any answers to the questions. Now let's watch this. Follow along while I read. It says, last Cerny, Flingeldope and Preben were in the Nerdlink, treppering gloopy caples and cleaning burly greps. Suddenly a diddy struggle boofed into Flingeldope's tresk. Preben glaped and glaped. Oh, Flingeldope, he chafed. That duddy strezzle is tunning in your grep. All right? When did this story take place?
Last Cerny.
Last Cerny, right. Who was with Flingeldope? Preben. Where were they?
In the Nerdlink.
In the Nerdlink, and they were treppering something. What were they treppering? Wait a minute, what kind of caples?
Gloopy.
Gloopy caples, right. They're also cleaning something. What were they cleaning?
Burly greps.
What kind of greps? Burly greps, right. And then a strezzle showed up. What kind of strezzle was it? Diddy strezzle. Did they expect it? No, they didn't, did they? And what did it do? It boofed. Oh, you can't get that stuff out either. Where did it boof? Into Flingeldope's tresk. What did Preben do? He was no help. What did he do? And then he chafed something. What did he chafe? The first story, you understood every word, you couldn't answer a question. The second story, you don't have any idea what it's about, and you can respond to all the questions. You see, that's how complicated reading comprehension is. It's a very, very complicated task that we expect kids to learn on their own, and they cannot. They need direct instruction.